Welcome to the Ridiculously Amazing Insurance Podcast. It's July, and we are launching our new Agency Ascend Leadership Development Training Program. This is huge because a leader can watch our videos and get it right behind their desk without having to go anywhere. If you want advanced training options, just reach out to us. But this is half off for the month of July 2024. So what are you waiting for? If you're looking to get a leader, have a leader that's struggling, or see some potential in somebody, get them tools to help develop it. As agencies grow, there's a lot of talent that's leaving the marketplace, and this is something we want to dive into. So in today's, we're going to give you a sneak peek, a little release of Teresa and I talking about managing emotions. What leader hasn't had to deal with this? And who wants to? They're very difficult to manage. But with the right tools and training, we can make sure that your leaders have the best results. And if you're an agency owner, this is still a course for you. Don't think it's below everybody. Managing emotions is something we have to do every single day. So take a listen to the sneak peek release. You can also go on YouTube if you want to watch us live, but you're going to hear us talk all about managing emotions with your team and how to do it professionally and successfully.
Hi, everybody, and we are back. Yes, presenting yourself as a leader. This one is Kelly's favorite. Just kidding. Managing team emotions. Oh my goodness.
Really not my favorite.
Oh my goodness. No, definitely not. Me neither. And the next slide.
But people have them, so I have to learn.
Yes. And this one I love. The pessimist complains about the wind. The optimist expects it to change. The leader adjusts the sails. This one is great because it's so much about emotions and how you look at things. And sometimes people just are pessimists and complain about everything. And I actually read a book, I think it's called The No Complain Rule by John Gordon. He was actually on one of my plane trips to, I think, Pennsylvania when I went to one of our agencies. It's great because it reminds you that, when you're being negative and you're complaining, it's contagious.
Yeah.
It's horribly contagious. But we also tend to complain more than we give positive feedback. So we need, as leaders, it's really, really, really important that we reflect on when we're being pessimistic, and we need to try to change that to be more optimistic. We need to believe in our people. We need to believe in our agency, and we need to believe that as leaders that we can adjust the sails. We can adjust those sails. We can make it better. We can make it positive. We just have to figure out how. So let's talk about managing emotions. Oh my goodness, managing emotions. This should be a whole university course or maybe a high school course, but we wouldn't listen if we were in high school.
I think you need to learn how to manage your own emotions before others.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So people all deal with change differently. You'll have those seasoned employees that are like, this is the way I've done it for 30 years and it's working.
But is it?
And you're like, is it really working? And this is how I've treated my clients for 30 years.
They're being triggered right now by your emotion.
We have to look at the different personalities. We have to understand how we can present things to our staff in a way that makes them optimistic or makes them open to change. Emotion has the word motion in it. That's a good one. It's got the word motion in it. We need to make moves. We need to make motions. Patterns with emotions may be a behavior. When a seasoned employee says that I've done it for 30 years, well, this is how we're going to do it now. You need to try it for 30 days and see how it works. And usually after 30 days, they come around. If they don't, then, you may have to have one of those.
They need to try it with an open mind, not try it to prove that you are the devil incarnate.
And I love the difference between reacting and responding. So we have a tendency to react as humans. Really quick, we're going to react. But when we stop and we think about things, we actually respond to them. And our response is way, 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 way better than our reaction. It's just like doing renewal calls. When a customer calls in and they're already upset about something, they're upset about that letter that you knew that they were going to receive that you didn't call them about, they are going to react. And if you call them about it ahead of time, then you're going to be responding to that. You're going to be proactive and you're responding instead of reacting to that negative phone call that's coming in. So key trigger words. Kelly, tell us about the key trigger words.
I'm going to be triggered. So there's some things that people tell me in an agency, and I have to work so hard to fix my face because it's literally venting and sharing an emotion. People say, all of my clients do not want to go in an online portal. So you have called 1,000 people and asked them what they prefer. No, I just know them. No, like the 20% that call all the time. My clients. No, they're not. They are not. They're not your clients. Unless you own them and you have a purchase agreement, then they're your clients. If not, they're whoever owns those clients. And they are there to tell you how to operate. What you don't understand is we are very busy. What you don't understand is that carrier is difficult to quote in the rater. What you don't understand is it's impossible to quote on the phone. You have to do a replacement cost estimator. People have told me this, that I would not understand that we'd have to do an RCE. So no, I understand that. We can still quote over the phone. No one can afford their insurance, not a single person. Our whole book is canceling for non-payment, every single one of them. Broad generalizations driven from emotion are irrational, and you need to be able to spot them because they're speaking emotionally, not out of fact. I remember we had one person said, I've used your script and I've asked 100 people for umbrella insurance and not a single one wanted a quote. And I just thought to myself, why would you say that in front of me and the owner? That you asked 100 people. I mean, even a blind squirrel finds a nut. Like, you asked 100 people, someone at a pity is just going to say, okay, quote it for me, unless you asked in the most god-awful way known to mankind. So you have to realize when people are doing broad-based, it's just, they're not thinking rationally. They're saying that they're scared or they're concerned or they're not sure what to say. Or honestly, a lot of people just really want to keep things like status quo, right? They don't want to ask the clients for anything. And then this creates a huge debacle. So you need to, the trigger words are, you are emotional.
All right,
you should never say that to somebody, but in your head as a manager, you'd be like, they are emotions.
Oh, yeah. Don't say that out loud, but you can
Don't say that out loud. Don't say that out loud. Please
recognize it. So managing emotions, stress and anxiety. So the triggers, high workload, uncertainty. How do we manage it? Again, the word clear, clarity, clear communication, clear directions, realistic expectations, offering support, provide training, that training word again, encourage breaks. Sometimes people are on the computer way too long and they may just need to look away for a couple minutes or get up and go to the bathroom or get up and take a walk and watch for people staying late. So are they managing their time properly if they're staying late? And they may be overstressed or they have a lot of anxiety and they're actually staying longer than they should. And we need to look for that and see if there's something we can help with. So let's look at frustration and anger.
Well, and I didn't say on stress. I think some people could be stressed about personal matters too. And so,
absolutely. Yes, definitely.
It's a matter too of just kind of understanding, like, and sometimes it's like three things, right? Work stressful, then home is stressful, and then like you have a flat tire or whatever it is. So you just kind of got to get in the know with it. But I do want to advise guys, like, if you have somebody going through a lot of personal problems, like, you can be professionally supportive, but the keyword is professionally. Do you need to know the inner workings of someone's divorce? No. No. And in fact, it will become a reason why they're not performing, and you're going to be in a difficult situation if you have to address them and they're calling you every night for 2 hours talking about what he did now or what she did now. That's just, there has to be some professional boundaries there.
Absolutely. Frustration and anger, you're looking at conflicts, setbacks, and perceived injustices. Oh, perceived injustices, that's a big one. She doesn't have to call 10 people a day, or she only calls 2 people a day.
She always comes to be.
You need to, listen to the concerns, and you can have empathy. I understand, but provide constructive feedback. Sometimes those frustrations are coming out of assumptions. They don't see the facts of how many phone calls somebody else is doing. They could be assuming that the person's not doing the phone calls. So you have to kind of, listen to the concerns, and sometimes they're not right. Sometimes they're just making assumptions. provide that constructive feedback, look for a solution, mediate team conflict. Oh goodness. This one is that one's it's not so fun, but you may have to do it.
So a lot of times people will come to you and say, I just want to let you know so and so did this, but don't say anything that it's from me. Or so and so had this. And I always say, if you're coming in my office, we're going to address this as adults.
I think that one's on another slide somewhere. I saw
Yeah, there's some overlap on some of them, but
Yeah.
I just want you guys all to know, because like you're going to go then to the other person, say, I heard. Well, who'd you hear it from? And you're in the middle of a game you cannot win. But if everybody can be adult enough and then understand that when they come in your office, they're there to solve the problem, not to vent about the problem, or, breadcrumbing around, like, you need to know this. And so you can deal with it. I'm supposed to deal with it, but not tell people that you told me, and then I'm going to go uncredible. So if two people are fighting, and this even goes just two people are fighting and you're not even in the back chain telephone game, the answer is you both in the conference room right now. That's it. Because, otherwise you're going to get into the team conflict. The adults need to work it out. We're in a professional environment. You don't have to go glass of wine with a person, but you do have to work with them.
Well, and you have to be careful, because if you don't handle it immediately, you'll have sides. You'll have half the team taking this side, half the team taking this side, then they're all in conflict, and you don't want that. So implement fair policies and procedures. So let's look at motivation and enthusiasm.
And I will say just one thing on setbacks. Sometimes people are rolling and then a carrier goes out, or you have to change systems. And people can feel that as a setback. It's okay if people are angry and frustrated at that, but work through it with people. It's still going to happen. But, if you're on a roll, or, and then you think, oh, this carrier is going out of business, you have to rewrite all these policies. Yeah, that's a setback in life, right? Like, it's got to be done, but let people be like, hey, let's get through it. What's the plan? We're going to get there, and give them a little encouragement too.
Well, and there's a lot of setback in technology sometimes, because there's so many different technologies, and people change technologies because they think they found a better one. So that's definitely one that you'll run into. So you have to work with them to get it done, and just work through and be optimistic about it. Motivation and enthusiasm. So being behind on goals, new challenges that may arise, and feeling that goals are not fair. How to manage it. Inspiring goals. Set goals that they find that are inspiring, and then give a why. One of the things that I find is that 10-year vision is so cool. The 5-year and the 10-year vision, it's really neat when you give those to your staff, because they can see that you have a vision to get somewhere in 10 years, and that they're part of that bigger plan to get to that 10-year vision. So make sure that you show them the why. Having those visions and those goals is important, but it's also important to show them the details and how you're going to get there. And just seeing that vision and making them part of it makes them feel important. So have quick and direct feedback. Like we said, if you don't, it's going to cause issues. It's going to make things worse. So get to it quickly. Recognize. So, you want to recognize people when they do something good. We use several different methods. I worked with my team, and they said that they'd like to have positive feedback on Fridays. So I have a task on Friday to make sure that I give positive feedback to my team, because that's what they wanted, and that's what motivates them. So find out how your people want to be recognized. Sometimes it's as silly as wearing jeans on Fridays, or, having lunch on Fridays. So simple things that are easy for an agency to do. Opportunities for growth, positive work culture, manage your own enthusiasm. Anything else with that one, Kelly?
I think that when, there will be times where everybody's in a little lull, like you have to work to spice it up, right? Sometimes people just need to be popped back into place. Sometimes there's something behind the scenes going on that you're not aware of, but I think you have to work to make it fun. And fun is work sometimes.
Yeah, and you don't want people that are just coming to work for a paycheck. You want to make it exciting. And we all know people that come to work for a paycheck, and that's not how life should be. We don't want, especially leaders, we don't want life to be like that. So we've got to, make some changes, shake it up to get them excited and more optimistic. And you'll have people that just aren't optimistic, but you can still, try. At least. So let's look at confusion and uncertainty.
Dun, dun, dun.
So change of role is really hard. A lot of agencies experience buyouts when another agency buys them or they're buying another agency. And you need to realize that the leaders, they really do a lot of research and look at facts when it comes to selling or buying an agency. And more than likely, they don't want to lose their staff. So even though, transition or change is happening, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to change staff. It just means that they're merging to make something better. And that's how I usually see it. I've been in two of the last agencies I worked for were purchased by private equity. And I actually saw it as an opportunity because it's making the agency bigger. So there's a possibility that you can grow, especially from
having a positive mental mindset.
Yes.
You can acquisition get very overwhelmed. And a lot of times the people acquiring maybe have goals, have transparency, or using the systems more very tech driven because they're just of a different genre. And then it comes in and, so it's like the change is a lot. But I mean, about it, like the change of finding a whole new job, new carriers, new clients. And it's like I'm always like, you're so upset about it that you have to leave and go through a bigger change almost for a fresh start. I don't know.
Right. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah. Processes being updated. We all know that we're going to experience this because you have carriers, you have, their websites, mobile apps. There's all this technology stuff that's coming. So processes will be being updated and organizational and market changes. It's just a given in our industry. So how do we manage it, Kelly?
I think the biggest thing is you have to be the leader, right? And set the pace and over communicate. So it can't just be an email of, hey, we're getting a new carrier. Like you have to do more and have official rollouts. I think a lot of times we don't pay as much attention to the training and the rollouts of things that we need to. And I think just having those one-on-ones during confusion and uncertainty is so important because like we always say here, like, I don't know what you don't know and you don't know what I know. So we have to talk and get on the same page a lot more. So to me, this is just one of those like consistency, plan rollouts, make it a big deal, take the time. Don't just send things out in an email. Say, well, I told you via email. Do you not read your email? Like, who wants to hear that? Takes an adult to hear the same thing 22 times. Like when we do a communication update, it goes on everybody's one-on-ones and there's a dashboard and there's an email and there's a video and it's like 500 ways to know about it. Because I know like I'm going to cover at least 8 of the 22 ways here and you're going to have a way to go back and see it. But I think a lot of times people are waiting for, well, what does this mean for me? What should I do tomorrow about it? And that's the thing the leader has to solve.
All right, let's go on to sadness and disappointment.
Well,
yeah. So triggers personal, professional challenges. And oftentimes it's personal challenges. There's a lot of personal challenges in people's lives. And we have to have some kind of empathy to that. Now, we do have to realize, you can't bring that stuff to work. People will bring it to work. So we have to find a way to basically work with that and work through it with them. When we have something go on in our personal lives, I love how supportive APP has been with us. So you need to make sure that you're supportive of the situation. There's also failures and losses. And how do we manage it? Empathy, being supportive. I mentioned those already without even looking at them. Being sensitive, because sometimes when something happens, something is simple, and I don't want to make it simple, but a pet passing can be horrible. So, what do? You have to be sensitive about it because our pets are like our kids. They don't talk back. But, there's sensitive situations, we've got to be sensitive to those, provide opportunity for reflection, encourage resilience, celebrate success, and be optimistic. Some of the things that happen in our lives, sadness, disappointment, sometimes when people have to talk about it, they can't. So sometimes you may just have to be empathetic to the fact that they can't talk about it right now, and you need to move on and find a better place or situation to talk to them about it. And some of the failures could be something that they're sad or disappointed about, something they did with their job. And some people really take that kind of stuff seriously. So, we have to be empathetic on how we approach that. So let's see what our empathy and evidence officer have to say. Okay, so identify if the team member needs to vent or you need to solve a problem. Sometimes when I have to vent, I will write just venting. I don't need an answer. I just need to vent. Emotions move and change. So one minute they may be sad. The next minute they may be frustrated. They may be angry. They may, they're going to go through all these different emotions. So you need to recognize that. In a work environment, we want everyone to be professional. And sometimes when there's, issues where emotions are involved, they aren't as professional. So you may need to say, hey, before you talk about this, maybe you need to think about it, think it through a little bit, take some time, take a walk, give them space. And team members' home lives can impact their work life. What do you think, Kelly?
I think all of it, but I think that venting, I think so many leaders just take every problem, say, I have to solve it. It's like, I just like to say, tell me, do you want a solution or do you want me to listen?
Right.
And some people I just need you to listen. And I'm like, okay, that's a different way I need to hear things. When I'm trying to solve a problem, I'm listening for facts and okay, this, okay, let me think about it. My brain's going, just need a vent. I'm going to shut that part of my brain off and be like, okay, tell me what's up. I'm just listening different. So I think that those are all really good points. Thank you so much, Therese, for having us on this one section. And we will see everybody in the next lesson. I always think to myself, as you listen to that course, where was this when I was making all the mistakes leading people in my 20s and 30s and still today in my 40s? I just think that so much is involved when you're dealing with somebody who's having a lot of emotions and how to handle them and make sure that they're in a good situation. So who couldn't use this? So if you have leaders, you're struggling with leadership, I think that this is the course that everybody needs. We have to develop leaders to empower the teams. And honestly, as agencies grow, you need leaders to be successful. But don't just give leaders a title, give them the tools that they need to be awesome at it. Because a bad leader can cost you so much. So check it out, come to our website, click the links, but don't delay. Get our Agency Ascend leadership training today.